Mm.
Barney is a dinosaur from our...
So sorry. Hi everyone, welcome to the show. Thanks for tuning in again to Stars and Cars, the live shows. I'm Mick, and this is Colin.
How you doing, guys? My friend.
Hey guys.
My friend with us as well.
Wow, amazing. So who are we? We're Stars and Cars Events. Let's give you a bit more of a lowdown about what it is we do.
Stars and Cars is the largest display of movie and TV replica vehicles in the United Kingdom, hosting your favorite iconic vehicles from both the big and small screen. We also have dozens of professional characters on hand for you to interact with. Not enough for you? Well, we then throw in a selection of props and sets for you to grab photos with. And finally, we top it off with a huge selection of traders for you to fulfill all your geeky needs. The icing on the cake? Every penny of profit from our event goes to our chosen charity, Darien House Children's Hospice.
Yeah, so Darien House is our chosen charity. It's the charity we've supported since day one of Stars and Cars. And up to date, through our event, we've donated nearly £60,000 to the charity, which is vital to them. Darien House are a children's hospice in Lancashire. They provide respite and care for children with life-limiting or life-shortening conditions. The cost for them to operate through this year alone is £4.8 million, and they receive less than 10% of that through any statutory funding. So any donations you guys can make tonight via our raffle, which Colin will explain a bit about shortly, is absolutely amazing. So thanks again. So let's bring Colin back in. Colin, how you doing, mate?
I'm very good, my friend. How are you doing?
Good. Over to you.
How you doing, guys? Right, this is an episode that we've been looking forward to, 65 million years in the making. We're looking at one of our favourite films, Jurassic Park, probably my favourite cinematic experience so far. Those incredible dinosaurs. Not just dinosaurs, though. We actually had some pretty cool cars as well. And before we bring out our first guest, we're going to give you a little bit of information about today's raffle prize. So this is Last Exit to Nowhere. Those awesome guys produced some, well, pretty epic T-shirts, and they've kindly donated one of their Jurassic Park T-shirts. Basically, you guys make a donation via our Just Giving page of just £2. You can enter that raffle. Here's a link on the page now, and you can choose one of their fantastic T-shirts. I've actually got one on today. This is their Isla Nublar T-shirt with the team, and it's got InGen logo from the film on the shoulder. So there's one of those, I think, in the prize, and there's some other cool designs for you to choose. So yeah, make a donation and we'll select one of you winners at the end. Now, our guest today has actually brought his Jurassic Park Jeep to 4 of our events so far, and we welcome him today, Dan Cooper. How are you doing, Dan? You all right, mate?
Hello, Colin. I'm all right, thank you.
And Dan's the proud owner of JP20, which is a replica of the Jeep that featured in both the first Jurassic Park film and the more recent Jurassic World.
That's
so
right.
The Jeep that you have, Dan, what base model is that based on?
It's based on the first movie ones. In the first film, there were 4 different numbered Jeeps that you saw on screen. That's not to say there wasn't others on the park. It was just a case that the main 4 you saw. My one is the number 20 on mine is not one of the actual movie ones itself. That was my old football shirt number, so it's always been my favourite number. So I kept that and put that on my Jeep. So although you see the Jeeps in the film, mine is exactly the same sort of spec, and all the bits and pieces on it are the same. But in the movie, each one had slightly different things. Like some of them had the searchlights on the top of the bar that goes over the window. Some didn't have a roof or roll bar. You know, there was variations of the things. So mine is kind of like a mix of all the different ones put together, and it just, we pretend that it's like it was one of the others that was in the garage somewhere that you didn't get to see.
You know, it's very cool. I mean, we'll hopefully got some pictures of it to show you actually. Here we go. So this is obviously the base model Jeep.
Yeah.
When did you pick it up, Dan? When did you first get this?
That was must be nearly 6 years ago, I believe. That, as you're seeing it on the picture now, that was literally how I bought it, untouched. And then we knew that we wanted to make a JPG out of it, and we started doing the conversion work. So in these pictures now, you're seeing it when it went to a local garage and it was stripped down and resprayed. They literally took it all apart. It was quite heartbreaking to go back in there and see it in that state, you know. But I knew that eventually it would turn out how I wanted it. I mean, we were quite lucky to the point that when I bought it, it was the right color. Although it's a gloss, it's the ones in the movie are more of like a matte finish, like a low gloss finish. But eventually, bit by bit, we sort of got it painted. We got the decals on it. In that picture, you can see it's got the full doors. There's Bird doing a bit of scrubbing. She's sorting stuff out. That's when we were changing the dashboard to the correct color. She's taking off the original side steps to make way for the correct ones that are on it now. So this is when we had the half doors arrive, because in the movie they have half doors, not full doors. So you can see that there. So luckily we got them not long after it was sprayed. So we had to take the doors back and get them resprayed. And then we went to a local sign maker who done all the numbers and the decals and things. And that was pretty much, as he was putting that sticker on it, that was when we headed out to the first Stars and Cars, I believe.
Right, that was 2016, I think, was the first time you came along to Stars and Cars. You hadn't obviously long had the Jeep, and it's really great to actually be able to showcase it with we had like trees behind it and dinosaurs and stuff, and it was really cool setting to display it. And
screen accurate rain all day long.
We do try. Yeah,
not many people can do that. Some of these little pictures here are, as time's gone on, little extra bits that I didn't have at the beginning, you know, through research and finding them, and you just add on bits and pieces as we go. So it's getting to that point where it's almost, you know, everything that was in the movie, but there's still a couple of bits missing, like the winch that goes on the front. I've got one of our group that I'm in, a very good friend of mine. She's literally at the moment, she's sort of breaking down a winch and cleaning it all up and getting it all ready. And eventually, once we come out of lockdown and all that sort of stuff, the winch will get fitted. So that'll be another part added onto it. That there doesn't look overly exciting, and it's a sort of blink and you miss it bit in the film, but it's actually a sound bar that connects to your stereo to give you a couple of extra speakers, and it runs across. If you imagine when you're sitting in the Jeep, behind you you've got the roll bar which comes up and goes across. It literally goes, if I can get it in the picture, goes across like that. And it is on the film ones, and you, like I say, it's a blink and you miss it bit when they first see the dinosaurs. And Alan Grant and Ellie, they stand up in the Jeep. He kind of puts his hand on it as he gets up, so you do see it, but it's a very, very minuscule bit. It means nothing, but it was on the film one, so I wanted it on mine.
You mentioned obviously on the video then that you obviously done quite a bit of research for this. What is there a particular source of that research? Is there a particular place you can go to find out a little bit more about these vehicles?
Yeah, definitely. to be honest, when I first started out, it was very much like most things. You get this idea in your mind. You know what you want to do. You type in Jurassic Jeep, and you look at pictures and you look at things. And I've eventually found a group in America, which is it's titled the JPMP, which is the Jurassic Park Motor Pool, and they are predominantly America. They got Canada and all over the world, as I got to find out. They have like a whole host of information, like down to how many rivets were in it, how many, the diameter of the stripes on the side, the Jeeps I'm talking about, the Explorer and that, a different entity. But they covered everything. So it's kind of like I used a lot of resource from them. I joined the club. You go into what they call a workshop, and that's where you stay until you've got a vehicle that's in a, shall I say, presentable shape. It resembles something from the film, and then you graduate from the workshop to the actual motor pool itself, and you become like a fully fledged member. So the resource and information on there, plus bits and pieces that I researched and done myself, and another good friend of mine who used to live in England, but he married a girl from Texas, so he's now in America. He gave me a load of information as well. So it's kind of like a lot of sharing and pooling resources, that sort of stuff.
Community then.
That's pretty much where I got it. Yeah.
Right. That's very cool. I mean, is there any, obviously, given the fact that there's that community of people that are working on the vehicles and studying them, is there anyone who's actually been working with the films who's helped share information to get these vehicles as accurate as possible, or has it all been done from fan research?
A bit of both, really. There's a few guys in the American side of it. One particular guy called Sydney. He lives on Hawaii, he works at Hawaii, one of the two. So that's where they filmed the first thing. So he gets a lot of pictures from what were the sets, where the gates used to be. They're no longer there now. You can still go to the island. You can travel up the path that the cars went up, and you get to a point where there's like two big metal poles sticking out the floor. And a lot of people assume that was the framework for the gates, but apparently that's kind of like a marker to where the gates would have been, if you know what I mean. The actual gates are right a little bit further on. But I mean, you get a lot of information there. I don't think I know anybody that specifically worked on the films or stuff like that as such. I mean, I've got a couple of friends that were extras in the newer films, but not essentially the first batch. So it's pretty much all the knowledge and resource comes from the American guys, really, because they started the group, and it's their information that filters down to us.
I'd seen actually on the net that there was one of the actual Jeeps was at Universal. Are the actual Jeeps still in circulation?
That the one at Universal is one of the actual Jeeps, like that was used in the film. It's got a different number on it now. I believe it's got number 23 on it now, I think. But it's where they, obviously, because it's sitting out in the American sun day in, day out, and it's in the weather, it deteriorates over time. So there's a few guys that get together and they donate parts to revamp it. So I think one of the things they revamped were the fog lights that go on the front, just either side of the grill on the bumper. You get two fog lights. Somebody donated some of them, and they went back in and they had it resprayed, and so people can still go and see it. So it's technically, yes, it is one of the movie ones, but it's changed a lot because it's got fresh paint and it's got new bits and pieces stuck on it. But it's still as it was.
And they brought the Jeeps obviously back for Jurassic World, and there was a brief scene obviously with the two kids drive it. Do we know what happened to those cars? Are they ever get used or see where they?
Obviously, what happened to those two? They took a stock model. They tried to get it as close to Richard Attenborough's character's Jeep, number 29, and I'm not sure what the other one was in the garage. There were two in the garage, and the kids drive Hammond's Jeep, as it were. When the production company made it, they made a few little errors, like they didn't paint the they painted, the inside of the windscreen red when it shouldn't be red. I mean, that's really picky. The original one.
Well, that's the level of detail you go to. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, they done it, but they basically took the stock Jeeps and then they tried to make them look as if they'd been sitting in a garage, you know, run out of power and all that sort of stuff for 20 odd years. So yeah, they did reuse them. They done a good job, and it was nice to see them in there. You obviously in the second of the newer films, you get to see the Explorer again. When it fell down the tree, they find it. You know, he gets knocked out by it, and so it's kind of a bit of a throwback to the original one, which is good. It's nice to see that they still remember those bits and pieces, I think.
No, it's very cool. It's very cool. Is there any particular parts that obviously when doing your research and the search, is there any particular parts which are really difficult to get? Obviously, you mentioned the winch. That's still something that's sort of work in progress. But is there one piece that kind of sticks that was really looking forward to getting that and have not been able to get it, or one piece where I thought it's just been more troublesome than the rest?
Well, to be honest, I could turn around and say for me the half doors and the side steps were particularly hard to get at the time, because in England you don't get much in the way of sort of Jeep parts knocking about. You know, every now and again you might find one that's being broken down and you can scavenge a few bits off it. Predominantly in America, a Jeep is kind of like a Ford Fiesta over here. You know, every man and his goat's got one. So there's plenty of spare parts knocking about. So it's easier to get them in America. But the downside for us there is we have to search eBay, search various auction type sites to try and find these bits. And for weeks and weeks and weeks, you'll see nothing, and then all of a sudden you'll see like, oh, that's a bit I need. So you put in a bid on it.
Yeah.
Other people that have been building Jeeps that I know have gone on there and said, oh yeah, that's easy. I found that straight away. You know, it's luck of the draw to get the part. But for us personally, the side steps and the half doors we had to have imported from America. So finding them was a stroke of luck. One of the things that the guys struggle with now is the interior, the dashboard and the center consoles and things. So in the film, they were like a charcoaly grey colour. Now, most Jeeps in the UK had a spice tan colour. So that's how ours come when we bought it. So we looked online and we literally found a full set of grey, charcoaly grey colour interior. And it was like, right, buy that now. Sort of so many years down the line, people are struggling to find it. You know, you can find one piece of it. So for other people now, the interior is the hard part to get. So it swings and roundabouts, really. It really does vary on, what time you're on the internet. If you're on at a specific time that someone in America's found some and they don't want them or things like that, it is very much luck of the draw.
Yeah, now one of the things obviously that's very cool about when you appear at an event, especially our event, is also not just the Jeep, but you've also actually got the costumes as well.
Yeah.
Is there a particular place where you can kind of source those costume parts? They have the pink polo sweaters, don't they? And then you want to kind of
very fetching, the pink polos. Yeah, what a great quality choose. That's fantastic. I love putting that one on.
It's possible you don't actually notice that uniform until you actually kind of pay a little bit more attention to the film. But that kind of very fetching khaki shorts and pink belt and pink.
Well, yeah, it's one of those things. Like you're not really, like you say, you're not really paying attention to the background people until you start building, like a costume or a vehicle or a prop or anything from the film. It's when you start paying attention. The actual uniform we've got, it's the right colours. Granted, I couldn't turn around and tell you it's an accurate polo shirt. It's like a pink polo shirt we found in, I think it was Matalan or somewhere like that. It was a pink polo shirt, so that just adds to the experience a little bit. I mean, obviously in the movie you do see a lot of the pink shirts wandering around right at the beginning, but if you look even deeper into the movie, there's a guy that wears a blue one.
Right. I then never noticed that.
You can say where he is.
Yeah.
So, I mean, he's flying the helicopter at the beginning. If you look very, very carefully, his uniform is like a blue. The veterinarian that goes out, he's got like a green. It's not a polo shirt. It's more of like a safari shirt type thing. But there's different uniforms for different things, but they're only minuscule little details in the film that you don't really pick up on. But if it was a real world thing, yes, you would have different uniforms for different people. So we go with that one. We also do the ACU guys, the Asset Containment Unit from Jurassic World, the first of the new two, when they go into the jungle and they get eaten by the Indominus and all that. So we've got all the body armor they wear and the camo gear, and it's a sort of it's not 100% accurate, but it's a close, close enough. People recognize it. The kids come up and they're like, "Oh, ACU," because they know it from the Lego computer. That you see all the different people. So we've got those, but again, it's just to sort of add that little bit. So when the kids come up for their photos and things, you kind of hover around in the background, but it looks like they're on the park because you've got the characters moving around.
No, it's very interesting. Is there any questions from the viewers, Mick?
Yeah, there is. But my first question is, Dan, where can I pick up one of them pink polo shirts for Colin? He will be down to Matalan tomorrow, 10 o'clock, looking for a pink polo shirt. That is absolutely nailed on, mate. Nailed on.
In the lockdown, though, this is the thing.
Devil.
You might have a bit.
Right on. Damn it.
Devil. So Dan Ray, our good friend, asks Dan to Dan, would you have fancy creating your own Explorer to go alongside JP20?
To be honest, we have thought about it. It's one of those things. A lot of people have a favourite, and my favourite is the Jeep. The Explorer, it's good. Don't get me wrong, but it's just a little bit too bright for me. I couldn't see myself driving it. Although my girlfriend, she would drive it. So the initial idea was to get one and have that as her car. So if you done shows, I would have the Jeep, she would have the Explorer. That was the plan. So yeah, we have thought about it, but finding the right model, because they were known to be quite unreliable. No sort of pun on Ford or anything like that. But when they asked for no expense spared, they kind of didn't mention that bit. But they're not as good as they make you believe. But I know a couple of people that have got them, and they've done like a fantastic job of making them as accurate as possible. And they're great. But yeah, if money was no object, then why not?
Yeah, and like I said, the colour in them is absolutely bonkers, isn't it? It's super cool for that. I'd love to see you in that pink polo. Hang on, does the pink polo shirt guy drive that car though?
No, they drive themselves. There's no drivers in.
I'll get my coat. I'm out of here. So Dan, tell us about the Jurassic Park Motor Pool UK. So obviously, like you said, it started over in the States. How many members have you got over here now? Because obviously you run the Jurassic Park Motor Pool UK. Tell us a bit about that and how many members you guys have.
Well, it started off, like I said earlier, I knew a fella that used to live over here, and he married a girl in Texas, and he moved to Texas. And we'd always discussed it would be nice to have a UK version of it, because we've got a European version, and up until Brexit, obviously we were part of that. And it was kind of like, right, we want our own one. And when he left to go to Texas and start his new life, his kind of parting gift was to have a word with the people that are in charge of the worldwide version, and they authorised that we could have a UK division. And it started like most things. You don't really realise other people sort of have this interest or have this Jeep or the Explorer or another vehicle. We've got so many different types of vehicles. And all of a sudden, people start coming together. And before you know it, I think we've got 50-odd members at the moment. I would say there's probably 30, 35 with actual in-progress cars or working cars. Some are part painted, some are fully painted, some are what we call a tribute vehicle, which is, it's not a vehicle that you see in the movie. It's somebody's love of the movie and the vehicles turned into a normal car. A good example is there's a young lad in the group who's got a Fiat Panda, and he's painted it all up to look like one of the Explorers. So it's all the yellow, red, and all that sort of stuff. And that's what we class as a tribute vehicle. It's not in the film. It's not, it's not sin. But what's to say there wasn't ones? Driving sort of thing. So it's
so you had your own Jurassic Brexit between you and the European guys then?
We did.
Wow, and that is crazy. That's crazy. And like I said, you go on about the European things. I know you guys had or have, probably still have, your European meets. I know you do a lot of other events now that I'm just going to touch on. So obviously this is you guys at your European meets. How many guys turn up to the European ones?
Well, this was the very first European meet we did. So the Jeeps coming through, that was a French Jeep. Here comes the English ones. I think we took out 4 English Jeeps, and we had 3 French guys turn up from various parts of France with their different vehicles. This was in the woods just off of where we were staying. That's my one with all the lights glaring.
It's amazing, and I know you do lots of other events as well, and you tour the country like a lot of the movie vehicle owners, and you do a lot of great stuff as well. But where was this event at? That's pretty cool. This
one was in a place called Fleckney Festival. It was not far from Leicester. It was
that's amazing.
I wouldn't say it was a small event. It was a big event. It was a different sort of event for us. We was invited along and to add a bit of difference to what we were doing.
That's brilliant. And like I said, I've seen you at your events at our event as well, but I've seen you at other events up and down the country, and you always have your Jurassic Park gear as well. You have a tombola as well, which I know you like to plug, which is amazing. But just to source all this JP toys and stuff that's a job in itself.
You're not wrong. The thing is, as you know yourself, with toys and things, they're forever changing. So you'll get like one line come out, and you can go out and get it all, and before you know it, they've changed the packaging, they've added new dinosaurs to it, all bits.
And this is your security detail. So we'll get into your security detail in a minute, but I know like a lot of our costumers and vehicle owners, you do a lot of charity stuff as well. So this is we'll ask you to speak on your charity in a minute, which is great. Looks like Colin's polo neck top color there, so that's really cool. But yeah, and then go back to the European ones. So how's the community like over there? You spoke about how it is in the States and how it kind of originated in the States. How is it in France and Italy and all these places? Is there a lot of activity there, or?
They're very similar to us, to be honest. I mean, France was when the meet was arranged. There was a couple of other people from different countries, Belgium, Holland, that kind of thing, that were hoping to get to the meet. But as you know, as plans work out, things change. People can't come for whatever reason. Yeah. But they do very similar things to us. So you'll get the people in Holland will go along and do comic conventions, and they've got all props and Jeeps and Explorers and all sorts of things that they bring along. Very similar to what we do. The guys in Spain have got some. So it's a very similar thing, but just in a different country. But the meet that we went to, one of our people that's in our UK division, him and his wife have got this big chateau. And when I say big, it's like big chateau. And he was good enough to invite everybody down, and we sort of camped out in his backyard, and it was brilliant. The video you saw there was in the woods, and it was the very first time I'd ever taken the Jeep off road. I bet that was good. It was. I was a bit nervous, I won't lie, because you're driving through and you're like, I don't want to scratch your Jeep. You don't want to scratch your Jeep, where that Jeep in the film or in any other normal, environment would be scratched to balls. But like you said, for you, no, you don't want to touch anything. You don't want to curb anything. It was kind of like just I would say that for me, that was the best part of the meet. because we all experienced it at the same time. We all went off road. You know, we're very lucky in the respect that Ben, this chap that I know, has got access to this. It's not like a designated off-road forestry trail. It's just a forest, but you can go off-roading in it. We've got another member. Her boyfriend has done a lot of off-roading. So on the CB radios we got in the car, he was advising us, right, you know, second gear, do this, do that, take your foot off the clutch, don't put your thumbs on the steering wheel. And he was guiding it for us bit by bit by bit. So for the people in the group that have never done it before, it took a lot of worry out of it. And if it wasn't for the COVID, we would have been out there next month, I believe, doing it again. And that was one of the things I stipulated, whatever we do, we've got to go off-roading again. So it's kind of like got hooked on it.
That's definitely. And do you guys have, so obviously like a lot of the other genres of films, so say like the Transformers guys, they have their own specific events like Transformation and all them kinds of events. Do the JP guys, do you have an event like that, or is it more of a just get together and head off out into the outback?
Well, because the UK division, because it's still relatively newly formed, between me and another chap that kind of helps run the events and things, we had a lot planned. So we did have another off-roading experience planned in the UK. We had there's a dinosaur park in Norfolk that we were planning to have a meet up and go along and display the vehicles. There aren't any sort of specific, like the Transformer guys, there isn't a specific Jurassic Park event as such. Yeah. So a lot of us will come and do like the group meets, but then others, like I do, there's a few other guys that will go along to Comic Cons or events like your own and sort of support what's going on for the day, that kind of thing. But to get us all together is a bit of a logistical nightmare. Of course. I mean, I can imagine. Far from you that long ago, we was up in Blackpool, and we went along the strip and you saw the lights and all that sort of business. And that was the most Jeeps, not including the Explorers and things, that we've ever had together in the UK at once. And I think it was 5 or 6 of us, something like that. But that was pretty cool because you get to meet members that have just bought a Jeep and they haven't painted it. They're literally in the throes of making it. So they pull up next to you and they're like, oh, I've got to get this bit. So it's a learning as well.
It is, and like I said, we've got going back to what Colin was saying about sourcing parts and stuff. I was saying to Mike last week, who had the DeLorean, how exciting is it when that tiny little part that you need and you source it and it takes you months and months to get that screen accurate one and it arrives. How good a feeling is that? Super geeky, I know, but yeah, it's really good.
No, it is geeky, but it adds to what people see. Like if 100 people could come and stand next to a Jeep throughout the course of a day and take away a photo, only one of them will notice that it's got like the orange hard hat in it, which you see at the beginning of the film. But for that person to turn around and say, "Oh, look, there's the hard hat,"
that's amazing.
That makes it worth it.
It is. It's cool.
So it is a bit geeky, but we're all geeks at the end of the day.
I'll bring the main one in a minute, but I agree. I love it when parts with his pink polo. I think he's gone looking for one now. But yeah, Dan, tell us a bit more about your charity, because I know you do loads of charity work as well, like us. Tell us a bit more about your charity.
The charity we've got is the Bassett Rescue Network of Great Britain. Reason we went for that is there's a lot of great charities out there. That too many to choose from, effectively. But we've got a couple of Basset hounds ourselves. We've got Hicks and Hudson. Hudson was in the photo. And we wanted to help them because they rehome Bassets that people can't look after, or they're too ill. So some of them have like bad eyes or bad ears or sort of hip dysplasia and things like that. And they help supply medicines and take care of them basically, and they would rehome them. So when we go out to the events, Hudson used to come along with us to quite a lot. Since we got the second one, cool. 2 are a nightmare. One's to have 2 of them running around. He don't come out of us that often now, but when we go along, if we have photos with the Jeep, we just ask for a donation to go in the pot So it's
brilliant. And like I said, you find as I work for a charity, so I work for Darien House, and like I said, it's amazing. You don't understand just that tiny bit that goes in them pots. It's a massive help. It massively builds up, especially to what I can imagine a small charity that they are.
Yeah, it's. I mean, we obviously we enjoy letting people have their photos with the Jeep. It's a good feeling because people want to take the time and come up to something that you've put a lot of effort into, and to actually add on a bit of charity for it as well makes it even better. Absolutely.
No, it does.
It just it's such a buzz. You know, I know it sounds weird, but it is.
No, it is. It really is. So here he is, the pink polo. Oh, Devo, he's not got it. Where's the pink polo?
Oh no, I just
no excuse.
It's closed. I can't try one on, so there's no point.
He'll be rooting through his good wife's. I was going to say through his good wife's drawers then, but probably not say that. I'll get in trouble for that. Too late. I've said it. I'm in bother. He'll be going through her drawers later to look for a pink polo. I've said it. Yeah. So Dan, thanks for coming on today. We really appreciate it, and delving into your JP brain. It's really good to hear all the details and stuff about how you put the car together and all the stuff you do. So anyone who wants to check out Dan's Facebook page, JP20 over on Facebook, if you head on over there, I'm sure there'll be some links to the JP Motor Pool as well. So you can get in and build your own, join Dan in his quest, and get your own pink polo shirt. Yeah,
it's all about the pink polo shirt.
Dan, thanks for joining us, my friend. It's been great to see you. Hope to see you next year as well.
Oh, definitely. It's such a shame that we had to not be at this one. We were ready to be there because, I mean, we supported you right from the beginning because the work you do is fantastic. The pair of you. The time and effort that you put into it is nothing even for me to come up and support you. But I know what you guys do behind the scenes. People enjoy the day for what the day is, but you're working at it months and months and months before, and then months and months and months after. So hats off to you guys. And I will
thank you, sir.
Colin.
You legend. What a legend. Thanks, Dan. We'll catch you soon, my friend. Speak to you soon.
See you later.
Cheers.
Legend.
How cool was that?
How cool is that? So, yeah, that's awesome. So, guys, thanks for tuning in this week. Please don't forget to like our page, to subscribe to our YouTube channel. That's really important. We're trying to catch up with some of our friends. So, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. Next week's show is going to be amazing. I think I can give a bit of a detail on it. Next week's show, we're going to be talking about building droids, how you can build your own R2-D2, how you can build your own DO, how you can build your own Wally, all that kind of stuff. We've got some great guests next week to talk us through that. The show might be about 4 hours long because I know these two guys can talk. But for me, that's it. Colin, any last words?
We got t-shirt raffle.
Oh, t-shirt raffle, yeah. Let's not forget about the t-shirt raffle. Random and generate. That's boring. Jason Conrad, well done, my friend. You've won the t-shirt. Get in touch. We'll get that over to you as soon as. Until next week, hasta luego. Laters.
Later.